Hello, hello everyone. Welcome to day 5 of Story Magic. So today is another training based session. So I'm going to take you through the training, and then there will be time. I will open up for coaching, Q&A, and getting individualized support. So welcome back to Story Magic, where you are on the journey of learning how to attract more and better for you clients through the power of story. And we've been looking at defining the essence of your vision, that little essentialized bottle version of your beautiful, healing, transformative magic on this planet, and what the opposite of that vision is. And you've been beginning to map out moments from your life where you have either had the experience of the opposite of that being true, and that's probably in part reason why that vision is so important to you, why you want us to live in a world where those things don't happen, can no longer happen. And we've also started looking at mapping out the high moments where you got to experience the essence of your vision for our world right now. And I want to take this moment to also suggest that some of those moments might very well be from your life, from your experiences. They may also be experiences that you have created for another. So they might be experiences of that, whether it's deep peace, deep calm, ecstatic, unapologetic self-expression for another. Okay, maybe a client, maybe a friend. So it might not necessarily be you in the story. All right, and then we started looking at how to engage your audience through sensory and emotive language, and why that's so important, because it brings them, whether they're listening or whether they are reading, into the world of your story. And I shared that it is bodies that tell stories, bodies experience stories, bodies remember stories, and bodies tell the best stories, which is another reason we want, when you are crafting your story, when you are telling your story, to make sure you're using language of the body, which is senses, which is the emotions. And I reminded you of the most important, essentially, aspect of storytelling, which is show, don't tell. So this is the difference between somebody trying to convince an audience to trust them by saying, "You can trust me," versus telling a story that communicates to the audience that they can trust you. It's the difference between saying to your potential clients, "I get you, I understand where you've been," and telling them a story that shows that you understand where they've been. You understand the depths of what they might be feeling. You understand the rocky terrain of where they might currently be hanging out. And you understand the steps required, probably both internal and external, to get to where it is they're telling you they want to go. And bear in mind that, as simplistic as this seems, the role of any coach, guide, facilitator, teacher, right, whatever word you're using to put on the work you do, the transformational work you do, the role of any guide is to help someone get from where they are to where they're telling you they want to be. Right? It sounds very simplistic, because it really, really is. And if we actually let that be true, and we let it be that simple, we become way more in service, because we start listening much more deeply to what people are telling us they want and helping them get there. It really, really does boil down to that. And when you can tell the stories that demonstrate, that show that you understand what it takes to help them get to where they want, whether that's pain-free, whether that's a six-figure business owner, whether that's having more peaceful relationships within their family, whether it's meeting the love of their life, all of these things are desires, right? And if you know how to help people get closer to the possibility of them, then telling the stories that demonstrate that is super in service to those people. So when it comes to storytelling, we want to be showing, not telling. However, when it comes to your message, we want to be as clear as possible. And that's why I've put it on a door, because your message really, really, really is your front door. Okay, I want you to imagine that you're walking down a high street, let's say, and you walk past a bakery, right? Maybe you glance through the window, you can see quite quickly that it's full of sugary donuts and you're gluten-free and you try to avoid sugar as much as you can. You're going to walk straight past, right? Maybe you're going to kind of want to wish that you could go in, but you're going to walk straight past. And then you carry on walking down the high street. Like that wasn't for you. That door wasn't for you. You get to another door and maybe it's a, let's say it's a kind of dingy, dark, doesn't look particularly cared for charity shop, right? And maybe a different charity shop would absolutely have pulled you in because you love buying secondhand, you love how it cares for the planet, but this one just looks like the kind of place that you don't even want to put your shoes inside of, and you walk on by, right? It just wasn't for you. It might be for someone else, but for you that day, not for you. You walk on by, and suddenly you spy a doorway, and probably through some nice, floor-to-ceiling glass windows as well, a lovely shoe display, and you can see in the back that they've got really colourful dresses and sun hats, and over there you think you can spy some candles, right? You're going to want to go in that shop. I basically just described Anthropology. It's like my favorite shop. So you want to be showing really clearly with your front door or with your window display, if that helps you think about it better, that you're calling in to the people that are walking by, right? The street traffic, except these days it's not just on the street, it's on the entire internet. And you need to be signaling to the people that are your people very, very, very clearly, I've got stuff in here that you're going to like. Okay, so we need this front door message to be super clear. Now, where a lot of highly creative and sort of multi-passionate people get caught up, and I got caught up here for years, is wanting this front-facing, front door message to say everything, right? Because we go, but I don't just do that. I also do this and I also do this. Now, that can absolutely be true in your business model, right? In your work with your clients once they've come through the door. Yeah, once they've come through the door in your, let's say you're doing one-to-one coaching with them, you might sometimes be mentoring and be in a very advisory, strategic role. You might sometimes be in a much more pure coaching, listening, open-ended question role. You might also be teaching them, right, like I am now, giving them lessons and step-by-step instructions in your topic. You absolutely might be doing all sorts of things with them once they become a client. But in order for them to become a client in the first place, you need to be very, very clear on that front door what your message is and what you help people with. So, what's your message? what we're ultimately going to do is we're going to tie together your really beautiful story that shares the depths of you, that demonstrates qualities you want to be demonstrating, that communicates without saying it to your clients, that they can trust you and that you get them and that you've been where they've been. And then we need to be able to, what I call, land the plane. Right? We need to be able to land the plane and have the people that need what you have to offer go, oh, and she teaches that, right? Or, and she has a step-by-step system for that. And she knows how to help me get what I want. Okay, so they're not just listening to you thinking, wow, this person is brilliant and would be a lovely friend, right? They're thinking of you as a potential guide for them. So don't worry, I'm not just going to say what's your message and then leave you to it. This is a model that I have created and I call it the Message Magic model. So the way it works is that at the very center of the Message Magic model, you have your vision, right? You have the vision that we have discovered, the essence of your vision. And I don't know if you saw, but in a little conversation in our Facebook group with Erica, we were talking about how the essence of your vision is the essence of you, right? It's the essence of you fully and clearly and unapologetically self-expressed in the world, which is unsurprising that this is at the core of my model because this is my vision essentialized. This is the essence of me. This is my magic. I help you to be completely unapologetically self-expressed out in the world. And so when you're doing that, well, actually, whether you're doing that or not, the same thing will happen, but we want you to be doing it. But you're creating an experience for other people who come into contact with you. Okay? The good news here is that you already have a brand, right? Your brand is you. Your brand is the way you make people feel when they come into your presence. It's how people feel around you. Okay, and obviously we want that to be happening as a result of you being your authentic, self-expressed you. And then what happens is, especially if you're a natural healer, a natural transformational worker, if that's what you came here for, then people go away from their interactions with you naturally transformed, right? They go away thinking differently about themselves, they go away feeling differently about themselves, about other people, and about capital L, life. And that's when, so it's why we've put these beautiful sun rays around, because you get to beam out your message to the world when you're living in alignment with your vision now. Okay, so this is what happens. There's you at the center, the real you. There's your brand, which is what people feel when they come into connection with you, right? If when you hear the word brand or you think of a brand, you think of logo, colors, fonts, you need to come back to the center because those things are all expressions of a brand. A brand is the feeling essence you put out in the world. And what we want in business is for then the copy, the offers, the tone of voice, the logos, the colors, the fonts, etc., to all be like missives, right, for that felt sense experience. And we want to make sure it matches up so that if someone comes into your world online and they have a certain feeling based on the colors, the words, the size of the writing, the amount of spaciousness or lack of spaciousness, we want to make sure that that feeling experience matches then when they meet you in real life, right? Otherwise we get that dissonance, which creates distrust. when how you're showing up online, both as yourself in videos, for example, but also through your colors, through your visual branding, lump it all under that title. When it aligns and matches with how someone feels when they then meet you in real life, whether it's out networking or on the stage or just in a social event, that creates a sense of cohesion, and that creates trust. So that's really, really important. So you have you at the very, very center, right, in the StoryMagic model. Because this bit gets left out a lot, right? A lot of times business coaches will go straight to, who's your ideal client, right? Straight to the other. That would be like trying to date and expect that you're going to find a really fulfilling long-term relationship without first really understanding yourself. Like very, very hard, right? So we put you in the StoryMagic model at the center. You out in the world, that is your brand. So people come into your space, your presence, they have an experience, they feel a certain way. And then we get to your message, right? Those words that you're going to use out there, beam them out into the world as your front door. So in order to get these steps, you need to remember and write down in the very center. And we're going to give you a printout of this so you can play with it. What's the essence of your vision? Okay, we've done that bit. And when you live into that vision now, how do people feel around you as a result? How do people get to feel when they come into contact with you, being and beaming that essence? And there are a few ways we can get there, okay? So have a think. What have people said about you in the past? Really, really simple, right? What have people said about you in the past, about how you help them feel? What do people come to you for? One of my clients, Val, she said at this point, she was like, oh yeah, no, because I have a friend who said, if I want sort of, soft, strokey, wound licking support, I go to this other friend. If I want to be told the truth and have a bit of an ass kicking, because I know that's really what I need, I come to you. Right? So people recognize in you, possibly before or more than you do yourself, what you can help them with. So what do people come to you for? Do they come for you for the truth-telling, ass-kicking? Do they come to you for the, hey, that's okay, let's have a little cuddle puddle and love you just as you are? Is it a combination? Is it something entirely different? Is it something very practical? Is it something very strategic? Is it for insight? Is it for your intuition? What do people come to you for? So what have you noticed going through your life, doing your work, about what people come to you for, how they feel in your presence? And if you don't know, ask. Right? If you don't know, or if you'd like to know in greater depth, ask. So pick up the phone, ask some friends, hey, what kind of things do you come to me for? Like, how do you want to, how do I make this sentence work? What do you come to me for to feel? Right? So do you come to me for fun? Yeah. Am I your kind of, oh, I need to laugh, I'm going to phone Erica friend? Right? Or do you come to me when you have something really difficult and troubling and maybe even shaming, and there's no one else can tell, but I'm the person that you come to that with? Right? So really ask. And then you can also ask past clients. You can send them little messages, or you can ask to hop on the phone with them and ask them similar questions. How did it feel to work with me? Yeah, what was the experience of being in the space I created? And you'll get some really interesting answers. And what does this make possible? So we all know that how we're feeling impacts what we then do, right? If we're feeling really down, it's much more likely we're going to cancel our webinar and stay in bed, right? So how we're feeling impacts our actions. So if your presence has an impact on how people are feeling, what does this then make possible for them? So here is my example. So the very core of my vision is about self-expression as healing and living in this future world where the word authentic doesn't even exist, because the idea of being inauthentic doesn't exist, and the self-expression is just so natural because we haven't had the years of conditioning into how we should be in order to fit in and stay safe. Those concepts, those cultural concepts, no longer exist. Self-expression is the natural form of all life, and we are life. So we're naturally self-expressed. There is nothing to hide. There is nothing to be ashamed of about who we are at our core. And the way of saying that is who you are is magic. Right? Who you are is magic. And when you are your full, unapologetic, naturally expressed self out in the world, you're naturally creating magic. Okay? You're naturally sending ripples of healing through our world. So this is the essence of my vision for our world. I know, because people have told me, that when people come into my presence, my containers, my work, they get to feel this combination of what I've honed down over the years to call safe and sparked. Right? So there's this absolute feeling of safety, of, I can be myself here, I can put down some layers here, I can try new things out here, and that sparked feeling. Right? It's not just safety, it's not just, I'm not using just in a diminutive way here, but it's not just sitting in the safety of a therapist's office and having that kind of safety, because there's also a bit of, right? A bit of provocation, a little bit of prodding, a little bit of coaxing. And as one client said, I think she said, you demand things from me that other coaches do not demand, and it's scary and I love it, right? So this kind of this demanding of the true you, right? This sense that I want that. I don't want a half-baked version. I don't want a half-hidden version. So there's this combination of energies of the safe and then the sparked. And that fits into my personal understanding and philosophy of healing, which is that in order to actually be sparked and be creative out in the world, first it needs to have a drawing back, a leaning back, a resting of the body, a resting of the mind, because self-expression is natural. So when you lean back, when you stop trying, when you stop pushing, you lean back, you rest, and then the natural spark of aliveness says, go. And it's natural, and it's easeful, and it's joyful. And there's no trying, and it's not pushing. So I loved it when I discovered that these two words were the words that kind of summarized the sensation of working with me, because it matches on to that belief about true healing and its absolute interlinking with self-expression. So then, what I know I do, right, the message is I spark deeper levels of self-expression in life, work, and marketing. Now, this isn't yet a brilliant marketing message, This is just words that describe what I do. And it's really useful to have those words for yourself so that you know what you do, right? And then we'll play a little bit later with how to turn them into an actual marketing message. I'm going to show you one more example. So I took a client through this, and she has her essentialized belief for herself, for the world, was you already are. Right? Whatever it is you want to become, whatever it is you're dreaming of being, you already are that. Right? That was her essentialized version. And then people who came into her space, partly as a result of her believing that and seeing that in them, started to feel brave and ready. And then what that meant is that they could step into new levels of leadership. And then all her work, all her programs are about stepping into new levels of leadership. So I love that one because it's so clear. So I'm going to pause here because I would like us to play with your version of the message magic model. Okay, so your vision, the essence of your vision at the center, how people feel around you as a result, and then the transformation that you create in the world simply by being you. Remember, at this point, we're not yet looking to marketing language. Okay, we're just looking to what do you actually do, right? What does your magic make happen in the world when you're being you? So, who would like to go through this with me? Who would like some coaching? Ellen, brilliant. All right. So tell me what you're thinking so far.
Oh, I'm just throwing myself out there. I am thinking that my essence is, I call it my free creative nature. And it is also about self-expression, but it is about finding my own creativity, and that finding that will make the world a better place if everybody could find that true deep source of creativity and creation within themselves.
Yeah, beautiful. That works. Okay, so at the center of your message magic model, you've got free creative nature. Okay, and what do you know already?
I would say wholeness as well, because it's about coming from fractioned and separateness to wholeness, but I'm not sure if I should simplify it.
Well, let's pop it in there for now, and then we'll see where we get to with the rest of it. What do you know about how people will get to feel in your presence?
Well, they say they feel very safe and contained, that there's space for all of them, that they can be weird, they can be, everything is contained, everything is accepted. So they feel a lot of acceptance.
Beautiful.
And they really feel that they can see, they often say they see that what they have inside that they thought was not creativity or was not good enough, that is perfect as it is, and that is ready to unfold, and that they are ready to bring that into the world instead of holding it back.
Okay, I like that. Yeah, make sure that's...
They get a new perspective on their own creativity and on their own resources and potential.
Okay. New perspective on own creativity, resources, and potential. Would you say that is getting close now to actually, again, not yet marketing language, but describing what you do?
Partly, yes. Partly, but I also work, that's why the nature I also work really with the connection to nature and the deep, but they're kind of separate as yet, but I feel that they're so intermingled. So somehow this finding your deeper nature, or letting nature and you play together is a part of it too, but I haven't found the way to integrate them.
Okay, so for a moment, just forget about the whole model and
Mhm.
just chat to me about your work. Tell me what you do. Tell me about these two separate things.
Yes, I'll put you on. I need to put you on speaker view because I can see you better.
Okay.
I feel like I am working with individual clients in therapy or coaching, transformational processes generally, um, individually, where I do a lot of different stuff. Like you said, I do massage, I do coaching, I do therapy. And then I do walks, healing walks with people in the nature, and where I also bring the creativity in there. And of course, I bring art and creative processes into the individual sessions. And then I have workshops where we bring out creativity, creative processes with all kinds of expressions, writing, theater, art, painting, drawing, voice.
Okay, great. And currently, if I asked a client of yours, what do you do? What do you think they'd say?
They would say I do workshops for creativity, for finding your creativity.
Okay, okay. And how is it working out for you? So it sounds like you're doing quite a lot
Yeah.
and quite a lot of fragmented pieces.
Hmm.
Like how are you? Are you making enough money? Are you having enough
Nope.
free time?
Nope.
No. Okay.
Not at all. I'm doing
Yeah.
really badly in that sense. I'm not really working. I'm not really getting enough
Yeah.
at all. And I'm
Yeah.
getting so tired of the marketing because it's such a hard work.
Yes. Well, I'm not surprised that you're not bringing in a lot of money and bringing in a lot of clients because it's too fragmented,
Mm.
both in message and in model. Within the within StoryMagic, we can't go deeply into model, but message and model are absolutely interconnected because once you get your message clear and you know who it's for, which is what we're going to do next, then it's much more easy to decide on the model, right?
Yeah.
Based on what you're helping who do. Yeah.
And that's why I think I have to focus on these individual and workshops, getting your potential, the creative potential out,
Okay.
empowering your creative potential.
I don't like two of the words in that sentence for marketing
Mm.
because potential doesn't really mean anything. It's coach speak.
Mm.
Yeah. But there are a few things you've said, and the other word, we can use empowerment, but we need to be very clear about what you mean by that.
Mm.
Um, the, the thing that's the most interesting so far is that your clients are realizing things they thought weren't creativity
Mm.
or things they thought were wrong about them actually are um, like creative resources
Mm.
and not wrong at all. Tell me a little bit more about that.
It is, for example, that they come and they say, well, I can't paint, but I always, every time I come into a shop, I love looking at paints and colors and empty pages of paper.
Mm,
And they've always longed to paint, but of course I'm not a painter. I can't paint. I can't draw. I haven't done that since I was a child. But when I was a child, I loved it. And then we start talking about it, and it could be this, or it could be that, oh, I'm not creative, but I just do my garden work and I just love being with children, or I do this and this. And
yeah.
then I get them to see that what they're doing is actually really creative, and where it shows in their lives. And I help them to see where they block themselves and where they, all these beliefs of I'm not good enough, and it's not good enough, and this is not creative, and others are better than me, and I'm not talented, and all that.
So when they get this new perspective on just how creative they actually are already being, right, and just how creative their natural nature is, right? This is remember your essence, that your natural nature is free and
Mhm.
creative. What changes in your clients' lives?
first of all, that they accept so much more of themselves. And often they get this sadness. Why am I not coming out with it? And why is it so blocked in me? But something changes that, whoa, I'm creative too. I've had these huge, what? I'm a creative. These huge explosions of, wow, I'm creative. And it's freeing a lot of potential, and it's freeing a lot of energy.
Yes. Okay. And then when they have more energy, let's go with more energy, what changes?
Then they start having a hope that they too can come out with it, and that they don't have to hold themselves back, and that their way of being creative, their way of showing their potential is something that the world needs. So they get this feeling, I can, and I need to get out. And they also realize that this has a lot of connection to their pains, their sickness, and all that. So they get a realization that I can, and I must somehow come out of my hiding locker.
Yes. Yes. Okay. So we're getting into more interesting territory in terms of, imagine speaking to this potential client who has this like stuck, blocked creativity, but they have somewhere in them a knowing that they do have access to creativity, right? Otherwise they wouldn't come work with you in the first place. And I feel like with you, there's a potential for messaging, which is more, it's like, it's not cheerleader at all. That's not what I'm going for. But that kind of like, yes, you can. In fact, you must. And then you're linking, we need you to link their sickness, their pain with stuck creativity, right? Which is stuck life force, right? Which obviously is going to make you sick, but they don't know that.
Yeah.
So we need you in your marketing linking sickness, dullness, lack of energy with stuck creativity. And then linking freed up creativity with more energy, with more vitality, with more excitement, with more courage, and more can do. Yeah?
Yeah.
Because your people are probably wandering around being like, why am I so tired? Why have I got this weird mystery illness that nobody seems to be able to help me with? Yeah?
Exactly.
Yes, good. Okay. So then your skill set, right? The fact that you're not just a coach, you are a trained therapist. Yeah. And the massage, right? You do the hands-on work as well.
Yes. Yeah.
And you use nature. And you have creative processes. These are all your tools, but you can't sell them.
I've tried that. It doesn't work.
No, it doesn't. But they're your backup, they're your credibility. Yeah, they're part of what you make you different from, let's say, an artist who's decided to do workshops on creativity who isn't a trained coach and therapist. Yeah, so you do need to be mentioning them and owning them, but you can't sell them. But yeah, it's something to do with, like it's like a new lease on life.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what you're selling them.
A new leaf on life.
Lease. Does that not translate into
no
a new, like take two?
Yeah.
Yeah, a second chance.
Yeah.
Yeah. And yeah, and Teresa's shared some thoughts, shining a light on hidden creativity, unleashing hidden creativity. This is all part of it.
Yeah.
But actually, creativity in itself is still not enough for someone to get out their credit card.
Yeah.
Not someone who is really ill and tired.
Mm.
right? They might go to a nice weekend class, art class,
Mm.
to enjoy themselves, but they're not going to commit to deep, well paid, right? Well priced, which is what we want you creating,
Mm.
containers.
Exactly.
If that is all that you're selling.
Mm.
Yeah.
Exactly. They want me to teach them how to paint, and I don't want to teach
No,
them.
you don't want to teach them how to paint.
No.
You want to help them get their life back.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you need, this is like, this energy that I'm feeling
Mm.
is actually, interestingly, a little untapped in you,
Mm.
right? It's this like, come on.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
It's actually, it can be quite, but
Yeah.
also very gentle. So it's both. It's just, and
Yes. So we want a bit more of that
mm,
in your showing up.
yeah.
Can you feel it?
Yes, I can feel it. It's like, and I do that individually. I can do that. And in a small
Good.
group, I can do that, but not in my marketing. I don't dare to do that. I'm just, pleasing. And
Great.
but when I show up individually, I can be there.
Great. So you know how to do it. You have
Yeah.
the reference experience. You know what it feels like in your body. I can feel it coursing through my body. It's yours,
Yeah.
right? But I can feel it. So bring that out
Yeah.
in your marketing and say that you give them, exactly, Karen, it also absolutely also applies to you. Yes, it does. Say you bring them whatever you need to find the words, but the essence is take two, a second chance on life, like can do energy. Come on, yes you can, right? You just need someone who understands what it takes. I'm going to be in your corner. I'm going to have my hands at your back. You're going to be safe, right? There's this feeling of
Very
safety
safe. Yes.
and containment,
Mm.
but also fire.
Yeah.
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 Yes. Okay. So for you, again, we're not yet into, I mean, we kind of have created some of your marketing language, but for your message, for you to know what you do, I would just say something like unleash life.
Mm. Yeah. Wow. Yes.
Or unleash life force.
Yeah. That gives me the goosebumps. That shows me, yeah.
Yes.
Unleash life force.
We like the goosebumps.
Yes, we do.
Yes, yes, yes. Great. All right. Good work.
Thank you.
Good work. 12:45. Let's do one more. One more. Ooh. Oh, did you have your digital hand up already, Lisa? No. Okay. Oh, it's tricky. Let's come to Rianne.
I was just bottling out there and putting my hand
I
down.
know you were.
Okay.
So what's the essence of your vision?
Instinctive, empowered love and flow.
Talk to me about this.
So it's basically trusting your own instincts and being able to act from your own instincts. I do parenting coaching. So it's helping people to understand that they already have all the answers they need, and they just need to learn how to listen to their own instincts.
Yeah. Beautiful. And tell me how the parents tell you they feel in your first of all, do you work with just the parents or the whole family?
Just the parents.
Just the parents. Okay. So how do the parents tell you they feel when they work with you?
I think they feel safe, but also gently challenged. But I think they almost feel like I haven't done anything. But everything changes around them.
And they say that in a positive way, right?
Yeah, absolutely. But it's literally, it's just having the space to explore where they've never explored before, what their instincts are, and all that means they think, almost that I haven't, I haven't been brutally challenging or anything like that. I've just been it's very gentle, very safe, very understanding and empathic.
And when they say things like that to you, are they saying it in the context of like, wow, it almost feels like you didn't do anything, and therefore they're taking on the ownership of how good a parent they now naturally are?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's unlocking
Great.
something.
Carry on there.
And being given permission to follow their instincts and empowered to actually follow their instincts that may go against, what they're actually being told by schools and social workers and things like that.
Mm. Mm-hmm.
And the love comes in as well, because it's basically, it's acting that way. When we drill it down with our relationship between parent and child, it always comes down to the love fuels your instincts, and so they're actually letting love play a bigger part in their lives.
Oh, that's really beautiful. Talk to me more about the connection between love and instinct.
I think we do a lot of things in everyday life and just general life around us that block us off from love, because it's all about making money and being busy and doing all that stuff. And we also do a lot of things, and the same things that block our instincts and our ability to hear our own bodies, our ability to hear our own voices. And once we have permission and the belief that we can, and we do have the love and the instincts within us, we listen to them more and act on them more, and just there is more, that it expands the love to include the people we love, if that makes sense. It's more out in the open.
I like that. So your love gets to be more out in the open. And when their love is more out in the open and they're trusting love as a guiding instinct, what shifts in the relationships between them and their children?
Their children feel they can be more honest. Their children feel they're more accepted and unconditionally loved, and that the children feel empowered by the fact that they have their parents at their back, not fighting them. That it's the two of them against any problems that they might have, rather than the parent against the child.
That's really nice. I almost wonder with your messaging whether it would make sense to go through, obviously it's not for the children, it's for the adults, but through the the eyes of the child, because as a parent you're going to be thinking about what your child wants, right? What's best for your child, if you're someone who's going to come and pay money and work with someone like you. So it could be something like your child knowing you're at their back. Like it would need a few more lines. Be something like, how would it feel to know that your child knew, or your children knew, you were at their back? It was you together with them. I don't think we want against the world. It doesn't necessarily mean to be against anything, but like a sense of togetherness. How is that landing so far?
Yeah, I think so. What came up for me there was that I worry that people, we do a lot of work on the parents themselves as well, to be able to actually give that love, because they've obviously blocked a lot of it. So if they almost feel like that's not something, I wonder if people feel like that's something they couldn't do before they come to me. And that's my biggest problem, I think, is people don't realize what change is going to happen.
Yes. So you need to tell them, right? You absolutely need to tell them, and then you need to overcome the objection in the rest of your marketing and in the conversation. So absolutely, there might be a part of them that thinks, I don't think that's possible for me. But with you, through your marketing, and this is how to really fall in love with it again with marketing, is if you're sharing stories, right? And not just like, woo, this is a success story, but this is the journey that the family went through. So you're giving people who are sort of here, right, down here in the difficulties and the arguments and the misunderstandings and separations, hope by pointing to what's possible, but also hope by sharing the whole story.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Obviously, you need to be careful about confidentiality and stuff, but sharing, like, this is what it took, right? This is the kinds of conversations they were having. I've heard your storytelling. I know you're magnificent at it. So painting the pictures of the slamming doors and the sullen dinner tables and faces lost in phones, and like really painting the picture of how it is now, all the difficulties. And this is where you have to step into your leadership and then saying, and this is possible, and I know it is, and I know it's possible for you, and I know that there's a part of you that doesn't yet believe it is.
Yeah.
And I'm going to believe in it for you until you can.
Okay, yeah, that I love that. Okay.
Great. So how would you summarize that that message for yourself at this point? Like, this is what I do.
The second one, or the message, the brand message. It's something about change being possible for everyone. Maybe it's about you already know what you need. No, you don't already know it. Help me unlock. Maybe unlocking what you need. Unlocking what you need to know to get your family to this point.
Yeah, actually, I like a distinction that you're beginning to bring now, which is that they have the instincts, but you have the teaching to get them in touch with their instincts, right? And that's how it's a collaboration. You're not going in there as a like childhood behavioral expert, right? You're going in there as an instinct expert. It's very different. Very different. You're not going to tell them, you're not going to be another teacher or social worker telling them how they should be. You're helping them get in touch with their instincts. So bring that forward in your messaging, because that's really powerful to the right people. Right? Not all parents, but for the parents you want to work with.
Yeah. Cool. Okay, that's really helpful. Thank you.
Then for the message, I would go with something like, I help parents trust their instincts to create family environments of love. Or loving family environments.
Love that. Yeah.
Yeah. I help parents trust their instincts to create loving family environments. Great.
Thank you.
Oh. Okay, I'm going to do a bit more training, and then we'll see if we have time. We will have time for more. Okay, so carry on. Remember how important this is, that you're living into that vision now, right? So if Rianne is talking about, the connection between love and instinct, and how when we get connected with our instincts, we get connected with love, which I absolutely agree with, then that, Rianne, becomes your guiding light as well, right? How connected am I every day with my instincts, with love as a guiding instinct? Am I letting that guide how I eat? Am I letting that guide how I speak? Yeah, am I letting that guide how I sleep? Right, really bringing yourself into alignment with that vision. Now, so gathering your brand feeling words and what that makes possible. Okay, so again, remembering at this point it's not yet marketing language. Like, I wouldn't say this, you know, out there, but it's just for myself. I know that if someone comes to work with me, I spark deeper levels of self-expression in life, work, and marketing. And then the question becomes, and for some of you this is really obvious, like for Rianne it's now really obvious, it already was obvious, but who needs that? Okay, who needs that magic? And this is how you choose your ideal client, right? Not plucked out of the air, not, you know, the people that you think have the money, but who needs your magic? Who needs it? Who wants it? Not everyone is going to want to work in the way Rianne wants to work. Some parents are still at the stages where they want to be told, okay, well, you need to set a sleep schedule for your child and you need to make sure they eat at these times and you need to use this script when they're naughty, right? Some parents want that, fine. They're not Rianne's ideal clients. Yeah, so who needs your magic? Who wants to work in the way that you want to work? This is when we get into what I am calling sacred niching. Okay, so I know this idea of niching brings the shivers, and I decided that I was going to have a little exploration into this word niching, and so I looked into the etymology of the word niche, and it said a niche is a recess or a small hole in a wall. And I thought, right, well, that makes sense that nobody wants that, right? Nobody wants to be squished into a small hole in a wall. However, the sentence continued, and it said, where sacred cultures would place objects of affection, of the divine, for their prayers, right, for their meditations. Now, suddenly, niching became interesting, okay, because what would you place in a space that was meant for something sacred, right? What would you place there? And we've been talking in this course about your magic, right? Your medicine, this little essentialized bottle version of your medicine, essentially. So what if we were to put that, right, on this altar, in this niche? And, you know, I was thinking about like the different cultures and the different deities that we might see in a niche. And, you know, all the way from like Mother Mary to Kali to Durga to Sekhmet to Medusa to anthropology. That's hilarious. Aphrodite. Can we have a new goddess called anthropology? And they all carry such different energies, right? Such different energies. And a while back, a spiritual teacher that I was talking to said, you know, everything is the divine. And then he went on to say, it's all ice cream. It's all ice cream. It's just different flavors. And I really, really liked that. And so I want us to have a little play with this, right? The flavor of ice cream, the different qualities of the different deities, divinities that we know about. And again, you know, it's back to those felt sense qualities of your brand. Like if you were a god or goddess, or we need a non-binary term for a god or goddess, deity, divinity, what would the qualities be? Right? What would the flavor of ice cream be? And who needs that? Right? Who needs that? Because what a lot of us do, and this is where we get into trouble, is we think everyone needs our magic and we want everyone to get it, and we try and help when we're not invited, and we try and give advice when we haven't been asked. And the dynamics of that, the energetic dynamics of that is like, right? That is going to absolutely block your abundance. If there might be a few of you here for whom this is the thing, right? This is the thing that's going to make the biggest difference, is stopping trying to help people. Just stop it until they have paid you. Stop it. Stop trying to help people. Stop thinking you know best. Stop thinking you know more than they do. Stop interfering. Stop offering your opinion until somebody has put their hand up and said, I want your guidance. I want your eyes on where I'm maybe doing things which are getting in the way of what I'm saying I want. I want your way of expressing things because they land with me. I hear them in a different way. I want them. That's why we need to be out there marketing, being seen, so that people can choose us, right? Let them self-edit. Let them edit themselves out. Oh no, that person is a little bit too spiritual for me. Oh, I think that person's a little bit too practical for me. I need Monica. Right? Let them self-edit. You be you in the full divine sacred expression of you, knowing when you do that out loud, loudly in the world, it is healing medicine, right? Being yourself is such exquisitely sweet medicine, and it sends ripples of permission to all of those whose lives you meet and touch to go forth a little more fully themselves. And that is how we heal. That is how we get free. As a community, as a culture, as a world. The most healing thing you can do is express yourself. And when you do that in your marketing, then your marketing simply becomes a way of sending your healing out into the world. And then you need clear boundaries around, this is how much I give out there, right? And then this is the line across which people pay me for my magic. So who wants that transformation, right? Who wants that? Ellen's like, yes, brilliant. But who wants yours, right? So, you've got your little message statement, and who wants that? Yeah, so Ellen, who wants more life force unleashed? Who would you love to get to support in that way? Because again, it can't be for everyone, right? So is it people who have always dreamed of making money from their art, but never committed to it, right? So this is where you begin to get more tangible. This is where you begin to get more outcome oriented. And it's really important at this point to remember and to ask yourself questions like, who would it be the most fun or fulfilling for you to work with? So for example, I know that I'm a bloody genius when it comes to messaging. And I could take that gift and I could go work with Pepsi. Try and help them beat Coke. I don't care. Nothing in that idea lights me up, right? There's nothing in that that feels exciting for me. I want to work with the small business owners of the world, the healing artists of the world, the creative, sensitives, those who are the ones that feel it all. And I want to help them step into their leadership, get seen, and get paid, because that's how we change the world. And with whom, so that kind of actually for me answers this final question, but with whom would your gifts have the greatest impact towards your vision? I'm going to ask that again. With whom would your gifts have the greatest impact towards your vision? Okay. What groups, what kinds of people, if you got to go and work with them, if you got to share your magic and your gifts with them and create the transformation, what groups experiencing that transformation would have the greatest impact towards your vision? Right? It might be politicians. It might be head teachers. It might be journalists. Right? You might want to think slightly in that direction of who are the people are listening to. What if you changed their perspectives and helped them unleash their voice and them speak with more love and lead with more love? It might be CEOs of big businesses. So who gets your magic? Who gets your magic? And remember, if they don't get it, they don't get it. Right? If they don't get it, they don't get it. It's not for them. Who wants this transformation? Who would you love to get to support in this way? Who would it be the most fun or fulfilling for you to work with? And with whom would your gifts have the greatest impact towards bringing your vision into reality? That is your ideal client. So, who do you help do what? Right? There are three parts to this really. There's the you, which we focused on a lot, but right now what we're focusing on is what. Yeah, so this is the outcome, and who. Who needs that? Who wants that? Who calls your heart? And then we start getting into more outcome-orientated language. And these are just a couple of messages that I have used over the years. And I want to show you this just as an example that you can still be playful. You can still be creative. You can still kind of mix and match your words. You don't have to have one set sentence that you read out like a robot at networking events, right? And you can also tweak and bring forward different parts of your message for different offers, okay? So obviously, when I'm talking about story, I say I help business owners find, craft, and share the story that turns them into a beacon for their just right clients. Okay, in a more less story-specific way, I might say I help entrepreneurs show up in a way that mesmerizes dream clients to their online door, no hustle required, and integrity intact. Right, so a little bit about the way that I do it and what's different perhaps to other teachings that are out there. If I am talking about the wild voice, if it's going to be a wild voice class or workshop, I could say I help entrepreneurs free their wild voice so they stand out in the marketplace and make money with their magic. Right? So there's always an outcome, right? You become a beacon for your just right clients. You mesmerize dream clients to your online door. You stand out in the marketplace and make money with your magic. This theme, this thread is there through all my messaging. It's about getting seen and attracting clients, right? But then I don't just say, I help entrepreneurs attract clients. Yeah, I add my voice, I make it my voice, my style. So just so this is an example of how you can, once you know your message and you know who it's for, you can still be playful. Okay, so these are your steps forward today. So continue writing out moments as they arise from your wiggly line and really trust the process, especially if there are stories that are knocking on your door. Write them out. Write them out. Get them written. Play with the message magic model and then start thinking about your stories through the context of this new level of clarity around your message. Okay? And what's one thing you can do to live into your vision now? So remembering this work of being seen by the just right clients and getting paid consistently, reliably, it is always a combination of both the practical, right, the mechanics, the what do I say, where, and the inner work of coming more and more and more into alignment with who you are and that energetic expansion of who you are, right? So there is more life, more vitality, more flowing through you of who you are. That is what is magnetic. So yes, we need the words, but we also need the energy behind them. So I'm going to stop sharing again and come back and do a few more coaching spots. So who do you help do what? Let's talk ideal client. Lisa. Or just right client, as I like to say.
So, so what I had said earlier in my vision was very similar to yours, fully, freely, and safely self-expressed. That's actually what I love, is it's similar to so many people, but it's really different also.
Yeah.
And thank you, Ellen, because yours helped me so much. So I'm leaning more towards self-loved and self-expressed. And that's not the right languaging exactly yet, but it's closer.
Yeah. And that bit, that kind of in the center bit, is for you. You're never going to say that out loud.
Awesome.
So, yeah. As long as you have the energy of it, that's fine.
So who I help people who usually have already started to make a change. Usually they've either had a big vision and started to make that change and it's not working how they thought it was going to be, or they want a big vision, they want to make a change, and they can't even access what it is yet because because they haven't identified those safety strategies that they've created. And so I help them. So what I provide is a space where they're lovingly held, and a sense of possibility which creates, when I help them learn to love themselves and have compassion for that little part of themselves that has created those strategies that are holding them back, then there's just an expanded sense of what's possible. And then you're living in the moment and acting from that moment.
Yes. Okay. Beautiful. What did you say? Expanded sense of what's possible, yeah?
I did.
Okay. And can you give me some examples, real examples from your clients of when they felt an expanded sense of what's possible, what did they then go and do? Maybe what conversations they had they wouldn't have previously had. Did they go traveling? Did they get brave and leave a relationship or start one? Like some tangible.
So a recent example is that a client got brave and spoke up to her family in a family meeting where, in a way, we'd identified a new energy. And instead of going into the panic and shutdown of that small self, she embraced one of her new energy words was fluidity. And she stepped back and looked at the flow of the situation and asked what would fluidity do in this situation. And she stood up and spoke to her family in a way she would never have done before. So she took action she would never have done before.
Okay, great. And you use voice dialogue, don't you? You use voice dialogue, yeah? You don't? No, that was.
I don't know what that is.
Okay, never mind. Do not worry about it then.
I use in my magic session. I actually use painting to move the energy.
Okay. Okay, cool. All right. And would you say that getting brave is a theme that runs through the outcomes?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, I would. I wouldn't have before you said it, but yes.
Yeah. So you help people swap out safety strategies that are no longer working for actual braveness.
Yes. Oh, that feels really good.
Yeah. We still need to sow that.
Yes.
But that's like, I've not heard anyone express it like that. So use that.
Yes.
And then write about it, right?
Okay.
So, because then your reader would need examples, of safety strategies that are old, outdated, and no longer working, how you want them to be, right? And then when you get, and then you could use this throughout as a, in a song, like a chorus, that you keep coming back to, like, and when you get brave, you, and when you get brave, you, right? And then, So tell me some more things your clients have got brave and then done.
So, actually, I'd like to use an example from myself.
Great.
So that when, so one of my stories is that after my mom died very suddenly, and there's a whole story, but I knew she was wild and free, and I knew that I could be. And so I just, out of the blue, found art. I just tried one day, like after I was kind of unmoored after she died, and I was realized that I'd been holding back and not doing things and using my own safety strategies. And I just took this art journaling class, and I realized I could paint and draw, and was shocked by it. And I was able to follow that because and act on it and explore it and create this whole other part of my life that I may never have had access to. That's very fulfilling. So when you, and it did involve being brave, because it's not something I had ever seen myself in before. So you can also really surprise yourself.
And so as you've continued this journey with painting and it's helping you get more brave, what are some other things that you have then done in your life that you guess you would not have done?
Well, and now I use it as part of my coaching program, as part of my one-on-one coaching program to help others. Like, I wouldn't have expanded it to be able to help others. And it's made me step out into, it's really helped me be brave in my business.
Okay. And there might be a way to turn that into a story. It's not it's not kind of captivating yet as a
Okay.
story. But tell me more. So actually tell me how you're currently marketing and presenting yourself and how it's going.
So right now it's I talk about getting your creative life force flowing again, and that we're all creative human beings. And one of the things that we've created as we were growing up in response to the bumps and bruises of life are safety strategies. And once we learn to love that part of ourselves, once we get very clear on what those strategies are and learn to love that part of ourselves, more becomes possible.
Okay, and then so the more becomes possible. That's where you need to keep
And
going.
then, okay.
And probably where lots of you need to keep going. It's where lots of people stop. And it's unlikely that, especially a stranger, right, is ever going to buy more as possible or
Makes sense.
potential. Yeah. So what more? What's the ice cream? What flavor of more?
Well, you stop beating yourself up. Like, it's because usually people in the situation are beating themselves up about what they're doing wrong, or so it feels it's freer and lighter, but that's not specific either.
So when you are freer and lighter, when you have let go of safety strategies, when you're feeling brave, right? When you're loving yourself, when you're feeling fully, freely, safely self-expressed, what then?
Then you're free to take whatever action comes next. You don't have to overthink it. You don't have to get stuck in it.
Okay, so let's shift.
Okay.
Who do you want to be helping to get free and brave?
So that's a good question. So the question, who would you love to work with, is one of the ones that really sparked me. And I would love to work with people who are already on a spiritual journey, who this is not kind of totally new territory to them. People who have a sense of adventure but feel held back in some way. I was also a travel writer for 15 years.
Okay.
So I wrote for Lonely Planet guidebooks right before this, is what I did before I became a coach. And so, like, that sense of,
right,
I want to go on this adventure, but something's stopping me.
Yeah. And would you be more interested in helping people go on actual adventures, like helping spiritual entrepreneurs, go travel the world, or are you now more interested in the inner adventures?
It's more about the inner adventures now.
Okay. So this is good. We want to bring this into your brand, right? That you did 15 years as a travel writer. I'm guessing that as part of that job, you did travel.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
Brilliant. So we want tons of travel stories and adventure stories, but always with the inner transformation, the inner adventure kind of brought forward, right? Because the adventure and brave, of course, are friends. I wonder now if it's something to do with so you said people on a spiritual journey. Are they on a spiritual journey and wanting to be spiritual teachers, guides, leaders, or are they just on it for themselves?
Just on it for themselves and living more in alignment in their everyday life and following kind of although they could be leaders, the clients that have shown up for me I've not aimed at creatives, but that's who seems to show up for me, has been a writer or a coach who wants to paint more, or so some of them have actually been kind of the light workers or helpers.
Yeah, what I'm getting, I haven't quite got the words for it yet, but the energetic sense of it is that you help people to bring their true self-expression and creativity, which again is like saying the same thing, into what they're doing for their work. So it's someone who is, a writer or an artist, but they're not, like, they're holding back on the adventurous part of that. Yeah, they're holding back on the very thing that would make their work unique.
Yes.
So you see, now you have a message, right? Now you can say, I work with creatives who are holding back on the very part of them that would make their work unique. I help you unleash it so you can, and then it depends on you and how much you're comfortable with saying things like, so you can 10 times the price on your paintings, right? Or so you can, so you see your paintings fly off the shelf, right? To clients will love them. Do you see how now it becomes more tangible?
I do. I do. And I think that's one of the things, is it was kind of very amorphous.
Yes.
And not very concrete. So this is hugely helpful.
Okay, so repeat back to me. What is your version of that? Put your language on that idea.
That I help. I'm struggling with the creatives part, but I help creatives. I'm still sort of struggling with that.
The word creatives?
Well, I haven't wanted to kind of, what I'd like is, although creatives have tended to show up for sure, I didn't want to limit myself to that. Like, I wanted to help other people. I know I need the sacred niche though.
And the brilliance is you don't limit yourself. Like
Okay.
Until now, I'm actually going to take the word highly sensitive out of my marketing, because it's something I've been using for 4 years, and I've evolved and my client base has evolved. But for 4 years, I used the word highly sensitive very, very prominently, and I attracted clients who weren't highly sensitive, right? Because if you're being yourself, and people are intelligent, then they're going to come, read, listen, and go, oh, like, in fact, I've literally had emails over the years going, I really want to work with you, but I'm not highly sensitive. Is that okay? Right? Of course it's okay.
Right. Okay.
So
okay.
People
that makes sense.
Yeah?
Yeah, it does.
Okay.
So I'm still stuck, but it's not on creatives. So I help creatives. Maybe it's a little stage fright.
Yeah. I'm going to give you back what I said because it's really good.
Okay, please.
I'm going to give it back and suggest that you just take it.
And I will work on it at home.
Yes. Well, don't work on it too much though. If it's good, use it. So I work with creatives who are holding back the very part of them that would make their work unique. Right? And then you need something like, I help them unleash that part, get brave, and do the work they've always dreamt of doing. Something like that.
Yes. Yeah, that sounds awesome.
It does. It's a much more tangible and attractive.
Yes. It was so generic. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Write it in the group. Put it in the group. Okay, so we've come to the end of our session today. So I'm just going to share that last slide again for you. Here. Okay, so continue writing out moments as they arise. Trust the process. Doesn't all have to make sense. Play with this new model, this message magic model. We're going to send you in your email a version that you can print out and scribble on. And then start thinking, right? Not like have all the answers, but start thinking about your stories through this new lens. Yeah, through this context, through the context of this new level of clarity around your message and who your work is for. And then back to that integrity piece, that energetic alignment piece, what is one thing you can do to live into your vision now? Lavinia is asking, I have a question. Can we have more than one niche, but the work is aligned? I would say, unless you're at about $250,000, no. It's going to make your life very, very hard. I have given one person, and she is in the group, permission to do that. Maggie, you're going to hear from her on Wednesday. So if you're willing for it to be a bit harder, and you're willing, because some people thrive off having, dabbling here, dabbling there. I find that a split focus stresses me out, and I really like to dive deep and be like, I'm doing this, and I'm doing it really deeply, and I'm getting better and better and better at it. And then it kind of expands because you learn stuff, and then you research for a bit, and then you're like, ooh, there, and then you go in. This is how I like to work, right? And get like really expert in this part, and then it kind of starts expanding again. Like for example, it went from story to messaging to marketing, right? And then et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. I'm not going to go too deeply into it now because it's a vast topic. But if you thrive on having very different things, right, to put your focus on, and that doesn't stress you out, that's your decision to make. Of course, it's your life. Just know it is harder to grow a successful business. And for me, for it to feel successful, it has to obviously be making a healthy profit, but also be fun, and also give me lots of time for rest and play and freedom and adventure. And if it doesn't do those things, it's not a successful business, in my opinion. And so to be trying to build two is double, right? It's double the work. So just consider whether you want that life, the life of building two businesses, whether it's worth it, or whether you want to choose one for now, right? Do it for a decade. Get to the point where you have a team. Get to the point where you do have automated stuff. And then start the next one, right? Knowing by then what it takes to build a business, how to do it, having a much bigger network, having people on your team that maybe can also work on the other business. Much, much, much easier to do one at a time. And then when you're ready, pick up the second one. That would be my advice. And obviously it has to feel right for you. Okay, so I will see you tomorrow. Bye for now.